I'm Alison, the gluten-free travel hacker, and today I thought we'd have a chitty chat about the British Airways frequent flyer scheme. As I discussed in the video here, there's been some significant changes to the scheme this year, and I thought we'd have a chat about my personal decision making and why I'm staying with British Airways for now. The decision on who you fly with is very personal, and there's numerous factors involved in that decision making. I think for most of us, finances and money is a deciding factor. We want value for money. We're not prepared to play over the odds just to travel with one airline. But there are other factors involved as well, such as, do you fly mainly short haul or a mixture of short haul and long haul? Do you prefer to fly direct, or are you happy getting an indirect flight? And all of these factors will influence our decision making when booking travel. Anyhow, as the youngsters say, which I know is really cringe, let's look at my decision making for staying with British Airways at the moment. Heathrow is really convenient for me, and without giving out my address on the interweb, because I've been told that is not a good thing to do, I can get to Heathrow in around an hour. It means that stress-free travel on the way down there. I don't need to book a hotel overnight. Other options that I could consider are Birmingham Airport, but I've had friends who experienced the security queues last year and their stories have just put me off. I have flown from Luton and Stansted before, both a bit of a pain to get there. I flew from Gatwick last year, but I have to drive on the M25 underneath the flight path of the planes coming into Heathrow, which just seems absolutely crazy. It's another 50 minutes to an hour to my journey time. So for me, Heathrow is convenient. I know the airport well, the terminals are modern, they have everything I need in them. British Airways, you know, their main hub is Terminal 5. It's a bit of a no-brainer to fly from there for me at the moment. Convenience may be a running theme for me in this video. I've done the sleeping in an airport terminal on a backpack in my 20s. I've been there, I've got the t-shirt. I'm not really in a hurry to replicate it. I like decent flight times. I like to fly direct if possible, particularly going to the States. If you have to connect at one of the hubs, you have to get off the plane, you have to go through immigration, collect your suitcase, recheck your suitcase, get on a monorail or a bus to another terminal, queue to get through security at the next terminal before you board your plane. If your first flight is late, it's so stressful because you're sat on that plane wondering if you're going to make that connection, and also checking your AirTag in the suitcase to check that your suitcase makes that connection as well. I don't want to have to be running through the terminal. I run like Phoebe from Friends. It's not pretty. I don't want to get to the next flight hot and sweaty. If there is a direct flight option, I will be taking it at this point in my life. I have a flight booked in September to New Orleans in America. I'm flying direct with British Airways. Flight times work for me. I know if the plane is late, I'm just going to be late. I don't have the stress of the connection. I can board, I can sit and chill and read and eat and sleep and arrive. Less stress. That is going to be what works for me right now. So the Avios Store, I moved away from this a couple of years ago because my purchases were not tracking. I did challenge these with the help desk. You had to supply evidence, and I was probably getting about a 50% return on the purchases that I challenged. It just wasn't worth the hassle. I haven't got the time. I haven't got the will. I'm still very apprehensive putting big purchases through there. In the past month, I've had a couple of hotel stays with Hilton that have tracked, and I've also got Hilton points for, and I like the double dipping of points. I've also made some changes to my home office, and my Apple purchases of a new keypad and my new trackpad have also tracked, which is really good news. So I'll make a decision going forward with that balance between Top Cashback and Avios to see how that goes. But that kind of checking of that store aligns me with the British Airways Club. When I was looking at the store, I noticed that there were more opportunities to earn Avios in it. One of those opportunities was with our local pub chain that we have. And I noticed that they do the in-store Avios offer. So what you do is you get the app, you link your card to the app, and then passively as you buy things, the Avios will accumulate. So I wanted to try this out. So I said to my husband last weekend, fancy going for a pint. He looked slightly confused at the impromptu pint suggestion, but didn't say no. So we went to the pub, bought our drinks, I paid with my link card, and sure enough, when we got back, it showed us pending and those Avios are coming through. This is a really easy way and a bit of a no-brainer way to earn Avios. I've been doing this since about 2021 on airtime rewards, and in that time I've made £450 credit. You link your cards, you spend as normal. If it's a shop that's signed up to the scheme, you get the either credit or, in this case, Avios. Absolutely wonderful. So let's hope there's more of those offers coming in, because it's a nice, easy way just to see your Avios balance go up, even without any flying. So service levels. Service levels, for me, I've not had any major problems. I have read the forums online. I have seen people have issues. We did have an experience last year where just outside the compensation window, British Airways moved our flight from London Heathrow to London Gatwick. We had already booked the hotel and car parking. It was a bit of an inconvenience. Apart from that, we've not had any major issues. I had a flight cancelled at the gate due to bad weather in Valencia. British Airways, through the app, we got a hotel booked, we were greeted with food and drink. We had a bonus day in Valencia, which was great. And when we got back, we submitted our receipts and we got paid reasonably promptly. No big drama. Like everybody, there has been a delay getting through on the helpline. I think that's across the board with customer service at the moment. I feel really sorry for people working on customer service lines. Any job where you're public facing is tough, particularly at the moment. The centres are under-resourced. They're dealing with annoyed customers all day, every day. I would just say, be kind, be understanding. It's not that individual's fault that there is an issue. You're frustrated at the situation and possibly the company, not that individual. Service levels on board British Airways flights. Again, I've not had any major issues. I know everybody likes to have a rant and a moan, me included. Let's be honest, we're in a tube at 38,000 feet and it's public transport at the end of the day. I really like the new, which isn't new anymore, but the newish club suite. I'm 5'11", I've had surgery on both of my knees. I love the extra leg room. I find it really cozy. I sleep well in there. Just like it to be clean. I think that has improved over the last couple of years. The crew have always been professional and fun and, you know, absolutely great. I have no complaints there. Everybody moans about the food. It's all right. It's food. It's edible. I don't know what people are expecting. In the last year, I've also flown World Traveller, so economy, and World Traveller Plus, so that's premium economy. It is what it is. It gets me from A to B. I try and kind of make the flight as good as I can in those kind of cramped conditions. So I always bring on some nice snacks as a bit of a treat for myself. Noise cancelling headphones are a must. Some cozy socks and just something nice and snug to wrap myself in. And yeah, I've not had a problem. So the brand, I am a marketing person's dream customer. I have that emotional attachment with brands and I'm very conscious about where I spend my money. So with British Airways, I have memories last year of going up to Edinburgh for the Taylor Swift Eras tour. There was a flight from London Heathrow to Edinburgh full of Swifties. The crew were in a great mood, the passengers were in a great mood, and just before we landed, the captain did the landing announcement and managed to merge loads of Taylor Swift song titles and lyrics into that announcement.
Landing in minutes, we'll be landing in about 22. I've actually been up here 3 times this week, so actually know Edinburgh all too well. With regards to weather, it's a bit breezy down there, temperature's around 11 degrees, and there's a few showers around, so not the best of weather. It certainly has been a cruel summer. Anyway, that's it for now, so you can sit back, enjoy the flight, and we'll speak.
I love stuff like that. It was great. Also, memories of flying backwards and forwards when I lived and worked in America. I remember November 2021, as we were coming out of COVID, that dual takeoff that happened with Virgin Atlantic and British Airways. Over COVID, we went down to Cotswold Airport, which was RAF Kemble, and we saw the rows of 747s all lined up with the BA livery on them, all ready to be scrapped, and that will stay with me forever. So as I said in the introduction, money is always a factor. I'm not in that financial bracket where I can spend £20,000 on British Airways Gold status, and let's be honest, I'm not even sure I would if I was. I'm not sure what you get for £20,000. Just go and buy a nice meal somewhere and a nice glass of wine. I will always look at flight prices competitively. If the British Airways flight is close in price to other airlines, for example, I'm looking at a trip to Chicago in January, I will pay a little bit extra, not much, but a little bit for British Airways. I can't quantify the price. It does depend if I'm flying by myself or if I'm flying with my family when there's 4 of us. Quadruple the fare, it makes a difference. It's a judgment call at the time. With my status, I get the free seat selection, and by the time you start looking at other airlines and the add-ons fees for, priority boarding or seat selection, British Airways sometimes comes out cheaper. So, is the grass really greener? I've seen so many people saying, I'm never flying British Airways again, our relationship is over, I'm going to move to insert airline name. I'm not convinced the grass really is greener. I am not going to choose my airline based on the wine that they serve. I'm just not that person. Most of the schemes now are moving over to revenue-based schemes. We're not in the early noughties anymore, where it was easy to gain points, it was easy to redeem them, and there was a bit more of a game involved in getting frequent flyer status. This new revenue-based earning model is becoming the norm. I totally agree, it was badly communicated to the customers. I'm not sure the grass is going to be greener, but do let me know if you've had a good experience. I'm open-minded and would love to hear. So I think we are starting to hear some recognition that British Airways screwed up the communication and the announcement of the scheme changes. Just in this last week, I've had a survey come through talking about my experiences of British Airways and the experiences of the club. And I've also had an offer through of extended period of time to earn bonus tier points, which you have to proactively register for. So don't go away from this video. I need the view time. Write down quickly for when the video's over to register for it, and that will just cover you going forward. The communication of the changes was not well done, particularly that period between Christmas and New Year. There was no media around, families were booking holidays, and they weren't aware the changes were going to happen. Some of the changes were expected, such as the change to revenue-based earning. Some of the changes weren't expected. Things like the Amex tie-in, British Airways Amex tie-in never materialised. I think the frequently asked questions sheet came out way too late. There was still not clarification before the end of a tier point year about soft landings. Things could definitely have been improved. So where are we now? At this point in the year, towards the end of May, I have 1,867 tier points. I'm pretty confident looking at my travel planning that I should be able to get bronze by the end of this tier point year and possibly silver as well. So the decision making is going forward into 2026. We're already looking at family holidays. We are that family who likes to plan well in advance, possibly going to Malaysia next Easter. Which airline do we choose? Do we stick with British Airways or do we look outside Oneworld and see what the other options are? We're just edging our bets at the moment and just waiting to see. So for me, the things that I really value with status are being able to choose my seat free of charge in advance and also priority boarding. Everybody gets really excited about the lounge. I'm not so fussed, to be honest. I normally have a glass of wine or a cup of tea in there, but I can do that throughout the rest of the airport. So what would I like to see going forward in this next year or so that will keep me with British Airways? And the first thing is, please, please, please sort out your IT. Even for recording this video, I went onto the app to find out how many tier points I have, and the page wouldn't load. It was that white page, like loading page. So frustrating. The same thing happened when I went on the webpage on my MacBook, trying to get on the Avios Store, going through the British Airways site, which looks nice new font, nice new colours, very pretty. I couldn't get in. I couldn't get into my executive club. I would log in, it would loop me back to the login page, and I did that cycle numerous times. It's so frustrating. When I fly on other airlines, they can track my suitcase. United's great for that. They manage to track your suitcase throughout the journey. British Airways app, I never get gate notifications, and if they do come through, it's really, really late, so I rely on ProFlightly. I don't really have faith in the app. Just make it stable and give us the information that we need. That would just, make life so much more calmer. I'm nearly 50. I probably shouldn't really care about gamification, but I do. I want to have some fun. Why aren't we making this scheme fun? This is kind of the point for the majority of us who are kind of frequent flyer kind of scheme people. You know, give us some targets to aim for. Give us some bonuses that we can sign up for. I've seen hotel schemes where if you post something on social media, you get extra points. You know, you took away the name executive, which implies corporate, which implies boring, and called it the club, which sounds kind of fun, but there is no fun. Make it fun, please, for us. I think a lot of frequent flyers were led to believe as we entered the new tier point year that there would be a tie-in between the British Airways Amex card and the opportunity to get bonus tier points. And that sparked a lot of excitement for people in the game of getting these tier points, but nothing materialised. And there was no update and there was no communication. And as far as I know, unless I missed it, it's not happened. For me personally, I would love an easier way to work out how many tier points I'm going to get. I understand the basic calculation, but there's things like extra tier points for choosing your seat or for sustainable fuel, or do I get tier points if I accept the in-app upgrade offer? I like to be able to work out with my flights where I am at the end of the year and if I'm going to actually have status or not. Really easy in the old scheme. I knew if I did a Return Club Europe flight, I would get 80 tier points. I knew a flight to and from America in premium economy would give me 90 tier points, etc, etc. This new scheme, I have absolutely no idea. It's hit or miss, but I do wonder if I'm going to get to the end of the tier point year and realise I'm like 100 tier points off the next status level without realising it because of the way calculations have done, and that would just be really frustrating. So, what are your thoughts? What are your travel plans? Have you moved to a different airline scheme? If so, let me know. Thank you so much for your time and catch up soon. Bye bye.